Good evening. On behalf of Swancentric Media, Mike B., Swanee T., and I, AI Victoria, would like to wish everyone a happy and safe New Year's celebration. We look forward to keeping you well informed and entertained in 2026. So, without further ado, here is Mike B.
Thank you, Victoria. And I would like to wish everyone a very happy New Year, wonderful New Year's Eve if you're still stateside and New Year's has not yet come on the East Coast. It has come. And the Central Time Zones, New Year's has come. We're still waiting for it here in Southern California. and other areas out west, including Hawaii. So New Year's hasn't yet come yet, but it is coming. I wanted to have a show tonight um, to just do what we're calling a roundup of 2025. And 2025 was a seems like it just flew by, but so much actually happened in 2025. And I want to just do a recap. So this show may be a little bit lengthy, but I just couldn't let 2025 escape without doing a recap. Um, and again, there's so much that happened, both positive and negative, but that's okay. We're going to talk about it, and we're going to look towards the future, which is 2026, to do better things. So this is the yearly roundup 2025 show. We're going to get into it because we have a lot to cover, and I also want to just I want to I want to stretch the show out so that we can at least share the new year together, bring in the new year together. I've got my my sip here. I'm going to take a sip right now, but I'm also going to sip. I do believe we may have some guests on. Swanee T may be joining us. We'll see. And we'll also do a toast, but we'll also do a New Year's toast as well. So let's get into it. This is the 2025 year in review recap show. So let's jump in a time machine. Let's go back 12 months. I distinctively remember bringing 2025 in, and again, before I go too far into this, this is the first time in almost 4 years that I haven't been with Swanee T, bringing in the new year with Swanee T. So it's a very weird time for me right now, and this is doing a live stream is therapeutic for me, but it's not the same. I've just been accustomed to bringing in the new year with 20T in some way, form, or fashion. Whether we're out and about, whether we're traveling, doesn't really matter. But this is kind of a yeah, it's a different New Year's, but okay, we'll get through it. But I distinctively remember returning to work at January 2025, and something happened locally here in the Southern California area. We had what we call a Santa Ana event. That's when the winds pick up heavily. And very strange start of a new year with these high winds. And these high winds picked up, and it caused a hot mess, devastation beyond imagination. So I'm going to jump and we'll do a quick recap on what happened January 2025.
A airplane as from KTLA photographer Paul Sanchez as he's
January
giving
7th.
us an aerial perspective to the devastation in the Palisades. Sky 5 unable to fly due to a temporary flight restriction put in place because President
This is a
Biden
hot
is in
mess. We had
town.
never
But
seen anything like
this
this.
is an incredible view
Unprecedented.
of what it looks
President
like from
Biden was the
above.
president at the time,
Yeah, we
and
will
this is
have
just
more
a
in
start
terms of
of
an
what
aerial perspective, we believe,
what we're still
tomorrow
recovering from.
once the sun
Actually,
comes
we're
up
still
and
recovering
we
from
begin
this
to get
this
a good
this
measure
horrible
of the
incident.
level of devastation here. But if you've been watching the
Unbelievable.
coverage,
So
you
this
could
was
deduce,
January.
frankly,
This was the
dozens
start of
and
the new year,
dozens
and
and
believe
dozens
me,
of
it
homes in the
affected
Palisades
everyone.
area have been lost.
Everyone
The
in
Palisades
the Southern
Village under
California
siege
area, if not
tonight.
California as
Homes
an
along
entire state.
PCH, along the beach,
It
gone as
affected
well.
everyone, and
One of two
again, we're still
communities under
recovering
siege
from this.
tonight.
So this
Altadena
was
struggling as well, as we
this
saw.
was the start of the new year, and wasn't. And again, we're still recovering from that, and absolute devastation to bring in 2025. Horrible, and so I couldn't start this podcast out without talking about that. Still up to this day, we're still recovering from that. Our hearts and our prayers continue to go out to the families that were lost. There were I believe maybe 50, 57 or somewhere in the 50s people that lost their lives. Many thousands of homes burned down, businesses, and again, they're still recovering. Clients that I deal with, um, on a regular basis. We're caught up in this, coworkers, etc. So horrible time, 2025. Around the same time that this is going on, in December 2024, President Biden dropped out somewhere in 2024. Kamala Harris took his place, who was his VP. She lost the 2025 presidential election to Donald Trump to be the 47th president. He was 45, and now he's 47. So in January, he started there was a transition, and he had his inauguration. Now, I have a clip of the inauguration, but there are some things that I just want to point out with that inauguration. It's not going to cover the entire inauguration, but take a look at who all attended this inauguration. I've never seen anything like that, and I thought that was very different. Here we go. Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg. There's Trump. The inauguration was indoors instead of outdoors. All the tech giants attended this inauguration, and everyone who was anyone in the world was there. The TikTok CEO, the CEO of Google was there, and never seen anything. Apple CEO. So I'd never seen anything like this at the time. Of course, the past presidents were also there, which is very typical. So I wanted to point this out, all the past presidents, that this president inauguration for Donald Trump during that time was absolutely mind-blowing to see how much influence he has, not only on a global scale, but on a domestic scale with the who of anyone that really pushes the technology for our country and worldwide. They were all there, and I just thought that was extremely interesting to point that out. But it was the actual inauguration that was held inside instead of outside, and I think that it was held inside due to the weather during that time. So president inauguration with all the tech leaders on a global scale attended that inauguration. So 45th, 47th president back in office, and he that was a shakeup. Seeing that, he's still shaking things up. So shout out to Donald Trump there. Interesting enough, as we progress throughout the year, so interesting kickoff to the year. Something interesting happened in February. One of the points that Donald Trump pushed was if he was president, there would never have been a war with Russia and Ukraine. He would have been able to prevent that before it started. I don't know about that, but this was the first time he had a visit from President Zelensky of Ukraine, and Donald Trump. He's not your typical politician. He has to be in front of the camera. He's a showman. He likes to show. And this was a very interesting moment in which he had a very interesting moment with President Zelensky. I thought that it was just an absolute show, just a show. But definitely some points got across. And I think I posted something at the time that even the White House gets ghetto. So let's take a look.
Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military? And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean.
Here we go.
Don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless. God bless. You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's exactly
Remember
what
this. You're in no position to
TV
dictate
right
what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very
you will
good.
Feel influenced.
We're going to feel very
I'm
good and
telling
very
you,
strong.
You will feel influenced.
What you're doing is very disrespectful to the country. This country.
This was on.
That's
with
back
all
to
respect
you.
in
Far
February.
more
I
than a
loved
lot
it.
of people said they
Respect.
should have.
Have you said thank you once this
A lot
entire
of
meeting?
times.
I have to,
No, in this
even
entire
if
meeting,
it
you
play
said
out.
thank you.
Please. You think that if you will speak very loudly about the war, you
He's
can.
not speaking loudly. He's not speaking
Here we go.
loudly. Your country's
Can I-
in big
can I-
trouble.
Can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No.
Can
You've
I
done a lot of
answer?
These are
talking.
politicians.
Your
These are
country
world
is in
leaders
big
that are
trouble.
having
I know.
what I would call
What about
a
Brest?
normal
If you didn't have
conversation.
our
The
The doors
military
were closed.
equipment,
The
You invited
conversation
me
if you
to
would
didn't
happen
have
just
our
like this.
military equipment, this
this was
war
on
would have been
nationwide
over in 2 weeks.
In 3
okay?
days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days.
Just say thank you.
I said a lot of
Except
times,
that
thank
they're
you.
You got to be more thankful because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards. The problem is
Here we go.
I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States, but you don't have the cards.
Look at this
But once
look
we
on
sign that
Zelensky's
deal,
face.
you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing.
All right, let's cut it right here. So that was television live from the Oval Office, and these are world leaders that are going at it. And this actually shows you that Donald Trump is not your typical presidential type figure. He's a businessman, and that was a business conversation. So as we progress through here, that was a very key moment in February. But when President Trump came on board, and we're still dealing a lot with Donald Trump at the very beginning of this year, there was a lot of talk about DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency. That was not an official governmental entity, but Elon Musk was brought in as I guess he was a third party entity that was brought on as maybe as a vendor or a third party person to come in and take a look at our governmental resources. And he during this time there were talks about mass layoffs, downsizing departments, getting rid of the Department of Education, et cetera, et cetera. During the Donald Trump's State of the Union address in March, this is very funny, but I thought this was definitely worth highlighting because it was all over the news networks at the time. Let's take a look at what DOGE found with the Social Security Administration. Let's take a look at it. This is in March.
Finished 1,039 people between the ages of 220 and 229. One person between the age of 240 and 249. And one person is listed at 360 years of age. More than 100 years. More than 100 years
This is the
older than our country.
I love this. I love
We're
this.
going to find out where that money's going.
This was the
And
State
it's
of
not
the
going to
Union.
be pretty. By slashing all of the fraud, waste, and theft we can find, we will defeat inflation, bring down mortgage rates, lower car payments and grocery prices, protect our seniors, and put more money in the pockets of American families.
Okay, so that was March. I'm going to I forgot to do something. I need to send the meeting link off to Swanee T. So while I do that, I'm going to take a brief intermission and put some music on, and I will jump right back into this show tonight. So let's do that really quick. Okay, I'm back. Hopefully, Swanee T received that, and we'll get things going. By the way, the weather is horrible here. We have a significant amount of rain right now, and uh, it's we have our Rose Parade tomorrow, but they said the show goes on no matter what. And but the weather is horrible. It's raining. I mean, I'm not going to say horrible, but because we need the rain, but uh, it's good to stay in. It's good to stay in. We don't need to be in the streets on New Year's Eve. Be at home, doing a podcast like what I'm doing, sipping a cocktail. This is a little bit of cognac, by the way, and enjoying ourselves. Who wants to be out in the streets? So let's get on with it. Let's get on to it. So where we are right now. So we talked about Doge, and we talked about the State of the Union. During this time, also in March, something else happened. There was this push for we call it the immigration crackdown, and during this time, Donald Trump implemented a 18th century law, War Powers Act type of law, to remove quote unquote enemy combatants or something to that effect. And the Homeland Security went around and rounded up hundreds of Venezuelan, Salvadorian, Mexican individuals that were on some type of wanted list, or their green cards had expired or something to that effect, and sent them via an arrangement with the president of El Salvador to a notorious prison, Supermax, called Secot, Cecot. Secot. Secot is the worst prison in Latin America, super maximum. And this is the first time that the Americans got to look at what Secot was all about. This was also in March of 2025. Let's take a look at it.
I can tell you this, these were bad people. That was a bad group of, as I say, hombres. That was a bad
See how the
group.
people are
When you
treated?
look at them and you look at
They
crimes that
they
they've
move around like
committed,
this.
take a look.
This is
You don't
Secot.
get any tougher, you don't get worse than that. We're going to get approval, hopefully, to get them the hell out of our country along with others. Let them be brought to a foreign land and maintained by others for a very small fee, as opposed to be maintained in our jails for
This is
massive
horrible to see
amounts of
this
money,
on
including
TV.
the private
But
prison
this is what's
companies and
happening in El
charges of
Salvador at
fortune.
Secot.
Now let them be brought out of our country and let them live there for a while. Let's see how they like it.
So that was our introduction to Secot. These actions took place in March of this year, and it's still happening to this day. We don't know to what extent, because there have been many court appeals. A lot of courts have blocked certain actions by the administrations, and they've been overturned. And there's just a lot of back and forth with all this. But I just thought it was really strange how the meeting with the president of El Salvador, who's this guy that actually visited the White House, I believe, around that same time frame, and said, "Hey, give them to me, I'll take them." So they just pack these individuals into this prison and just lock them up and throw away the key. There was also after that. So we talked. That was March. So let's jump to April. During the April time frame, there was a lot of talk about tariffs, and there was a tremendous amount of back and forth um, between the Trump administration and China. China is another big boy on the block. United States is a big boy on the block, but I believe China, it may be even a bigger boy on the block as far as manufacturing and production and so forth. So there was a back and forth with tariffs, and but not only that, there was an entire list of tariffs that the Trump administration was going to implement, so that goods coming, if a country wanted to bring their goods into this country, they had to pay a significant amount, 30, 40, 50%. At some point, it was 100% for, I believe, China, and then 150% for India, etc., to pay to have their goods sold here. Now, that in itself, I don't think is a bad idea. I think it's a really good idea because that's income that's coming into this country that can be used for other things, infrastructure. I believe those tariffs are going to be used for tax relief, so that the middleman isn't taxed to death. So a lot of that can be used to support the government, support this country without putting the burden on the taxpayer. So I don't see anything wrong with it in itself. But let's take a look at what was rolled out in April.
So if you look at that, China, first row, China, 67%. That's tariffs charged to the USA, including currency manipulation and trade barriers. So 67%, I think you can, for the most part, see it. Those with good eyes, with bad eyes. We didn't want to it's very windy out here. We didn't want to bring out the big charts because it had no chance of standing. Fortunately, we came armed with a little smaller chart. So it's 67%. So we're going to be charging a discounted reciprocal tariff of 34%. I think, in other words, they charge us, we charge them, we charge them less.
Some of these
Can anybody
tariffs
be
have not
upset?
been implemented. Some
They
of them
will
have
be
been
because we
rolled
never
back.
charged
Some of
anybody
them
anything.
have been reduced.
Now we're going to charge.
So everything that was presented on this chart is not actually active at this time. But I just thought that was really interesting how this chart displayed all that. All those numbers and figures and how all the different countries and things like that. So, interesting. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, then of course, again, Donald Trump is a businessman. He'll make it work one way or the other. So that was the big thing in April. But there was also another incident that happened in April. This is a very sensitive situation. Pope Francis passed away in April, and not only that, he had been sick for quite some time, in and out of the hospital, etc. And he actually gave the Easter Sunday Mass. I forget what day that is, but he delivered the Easter Sunday Mass, and the day after the Mass, he passed away. And that was a big thing. Let's take a look what the news covered for that in April.
Pope Francis has died at the age of 88. According to a statement by the Vatican, he passed away at 7:35 a.m. local time. He was hospitalized for weeks earlier this year for double pneumonia. Just yesterday, he made his final public appearance, greeting thousands of worshippers gathered at the Vatican for Easter Sunday Mass.
Okay, so that was Pope Francis passing away a day after Easter Mass. In May, a new pope was elected. The first American pope, by the way, Pope Leo XIV, who was born, I believe, in Illinois, and he is an American, and he was the very first American pope. Let's take a look at what and this was in May, by the way.
Cardinal Robert Francis Prevost has chosen the name Pope Leo XIV.
Pope Leo XIV became the first American pope in May. Very significant event. And he's doing a great job. Now we're about halfway through the year, and the fun and excitement hasn't slowed down, not even once. Around the middle of this year, there was a lot of things going on, but the two major things that happened was, and this is one of the incidents that occurred is of a personal nature because Swanee T was actually involved in there. When I say involved, actually in the area. This was the what was dubbed the 12-day war between Israel and Iran, in which um, Iran, well, Israel terminated certain targets in Israel. I mean, Israel terminated certain targets in Iran. Um, some of those targets involved nuclear facilities and high-ranking members of the military. In retaliation, Iran sent a barrage of ballistic missiles. I think over 500 ballistic missiles and drones to Israel, causing a tremendous amount of destruction and devastation. During this 12-day period, I distinctively remember having conference calls with Swanee T during this time, in which the entire country was shut down for that entire period. It was, during that time, she said that it was kind of like how things were during the COVID times, where everything was just shut down, and only essential facilities were operating. ERs, emergency rooms, grocery stores, etc. But for the most part, everyone was at home. It was like a mini COVID type of scenario. And I remember having these conversations, and it was the alarms were going off. I actually have the home front app on my phone. So when these missiles were going towards Israel, I was getting the alerts as well. And it was constant, 5 or 6 times a day, going into the bunkers, 5-10 minutes at a time, waking up through the middle of the night. And ironically, the missile strikes would come, early in the morning, right before sunrise. So there was a lot of just instability during that time. Let me just do a recap on to refresh our memories on the 12-day war.
Around the world. This is the story of their 12-day war. On June 13th, Israel took Iran by surprise with a barrage of airstrikes on around 100 targets.
We won't go through the entire
Operation Rising Lion killed key Iranian commanders and nuclear scientists. The attack was in response, Israel said, to Iran approaching the point of no return in the development of a nuclear weapon.
Israel will never allow those who call for our annihilation to develop the means to achieve that goal.
2 of Iran's above-ground nuclear facilities were hit, Isfahan and Natanz. Israeli warplanes also struck air defenses and military sites.
And let's do this a little bit. This is
over the following 10 days, Iran went on the counterattack. Tehran fired 100 missiles at Israel on the first night alone. Waves of missiles crashed in over the following days, forcing Israelis to take shelter as sirens were heard in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem.
Okay, so we know this story, and it was, again, I take it is of a personal nature to me because it was a very emotional time for families and friends of mine in Israel, and it was I was actually in Israel in March, and the Iron Dome defenses were going off even during that time in March. So a lot was going on between Iran, Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis at the very first of 2025. So that it was a recap of that, and that was the highlight of that in June. Also in June, we had some issues here stateside, big time issues. Around this time, the Trump administration deployed um, uh, ICE agents, Border Patrol, and ICE agents in the inner city of Los Angeles, the downtown area. Excuse me, the downtown areas and the inner cities, and those law enforcement units were met with a tremendous amount of pushback from the civilian population, to the point where the city, certain parts of the city, specifically the downtown area of LA, was decimated, vandalized, graffiti everywhere, just a lot of vandalism going on, to the point where the National Guard was deployed by the Trump administration. It was horrible. And I believe Mayor Bass at the time was out of country, maybe doing some business in Africa, and was brought back into this. I believe that was the case, but she was on the front lines with trying to stabilize things during that time. So let's take a snapshot and a recap of what was going on in LA during June of 2025. A lot was going on. Horrible. The city was just tore up. Rideshare vehicles, the automated rideshare vehicles, the Waymo vehicles were tore up. It was just absolute chaos during this time frame. And I really didn't have the opportunity to really see a lot of that firsthand, because I don't live in LA, and I really haven't, and I really have no business of visiting the downtown area of LA. But absolute devastation, and I believe they're still in the process of just putting things back in order. I just heard today that the Trump administration will be pulling the National Guard out of Los Angeles, Chicago, and I believe New Orleans. The Trump administration, under some type of War Powers Act, was able to deploy the National Guard, which he met with tremendous pushback from Governor Newsom, because the National Guard, there's certain criteria that have to be met in order for the National Guard to be federalized, and so there were court challenges in which the state tried to retain that authority from the Trump administration, and it was not successful. So the National Guard stayed under federal authority. Also, I believe 500 Marines were deployed, 200 or 500 Marines from Camp Pendleton were deployed also. So active duty troops in the inner city, which I've never heard of in recent years, were actually deployed in the downtown area of LA as well. So a lot of instability during the summer of 2025, both globally and locally here in LA. We have to talk about that. So that was in June. In July, something interesting happened, and it wasn't really spoken about until maybe August or September. And it's this phenomenon, not even a phenomenon, but it's this curiosity. There is an interstellar object that many astronomers are curious about, and this is the comet. It's been designated as a comet by NASA as 3I Atlas. 3I being the third interstellar object that we've observed in our solar system, which means that this is an object that wasn't our solar system is vast, but this object wasn't created within our solar system. It was created outside of our solar system. Hence, interstellar 3I is third object. But 3I Atlas is not like any other comet that has been recorded to date. And 3I Atlas, up to this day, there's data coming out as recently as today that astronomers observing 3I Atlas now say that this object, one of the biggest advocates of 3I Atlas being something other than a comet is world famous astrophysicist Avi Loeb, who has been all over the media news networks talking about 3I Atlas. And frankly, um, everything that this comet is doing it's operating outside the parameters of a normal comet. So he's not assuming, he's saying it could be. There's a probability that this could be an alien spacecraft. And it's getting more interesting day by day. This kicked off in July. Let's take a look.
Aware of an interstellar interloper crossing our solar system. Here are some facts you should know about Comet 3I Atlas. Comet 3I Atlas is an interstellar object, following an unbound path past our sun and through the solar system, but it won't come very close to Earth. Its closest planetary encounter was with Mars, and even that celestial meeting was around 30 million kilometers apart. 3I Atlas is the third interstellar object to be discovered, after 1I Oumuamua in 2017 and 2I Borisov in 2019. But this one is believed to be larger and roughly twice as fast as the previous two. By getting closer to the sun, it's been picking up a bit more speed and has started releasing a lot more material.
Just doing a lot of
An
things
estimate
that are
showed that
abnormal.
it's losing at least 40 liters of water every second. That means an Olympic pool's worth of water is lost every 18 hours. It's also losing at least 30 kilograms of
This
dust
object
per
is about
second.
the size of Manhattan.
One model suggests that the comet likely comes from the thick disk of the Milky Way and is expected to be significantly older than our solar system,
it's the way that
at least several billion years older, if not twice
seems
as
to
old.
be moving
This potentially 10 billion year old
very
comet
different
might have
than
had
normal comet.
many encounters with other solar systems as
as
it
if it was
travels
on a
across
course,
our
a
galaxy.
specific course.
But maps of the Milky Way and extrapolation of the comet's orbit suggests that in the last 10 million years, our
Okay.
sun is the closest star.
So I'm going to go ahead and cut it there. There's tons of data on and information on 3I Atlas. And if you're interested in checking out 3I Atlas information, just Google it. It'll pop up. Avi Loeb's website is also available, which is it's called Medium something. Just Google that if you want to check out his official website, or just Wikipedia him. It's called Medium. So Medium, which is his official website. Check it out if you're looking at more information on 3I Atlas. I'm going to go ahead and bring in Swanee T right now. And I'll give a nice little introduction to Swanee T as we continue on with this. But right now we're at July. We're in July, and we have a bit to go. So we're right on schedule for midnight. So let's bring in Swanee T.
Hello.
Hi, Swan. Hi, Swanee. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I am doing just fine.
I wasn't prepared.
You're doing just fine. I'm about
Happy New Year.
I am halfway through talking about the events of 2025. So we've saved you about another half a year worth of information before we transition into our New Year celebration vibe. So thank you for joining us. We appreciate you, and
thank you.
Close this out. I kind of mentioned earlier before we pick back up with our dialogue. Let me just take a little break here. I kind of mentioned earlier that that this is the first time that we haven't physically been together to celebrate bringing the new year. I think this is our fourth year. So this is our fourth year not being able to bring in physically the new year. So it's a little bit strange, a little bit different, and being able to be on a podcast is. I kind of said that it was therapeutic for me to have this dialogue because it's the next best thing having you on virtually with me. The next best thing than you being here, but it's just a really different New Year's, and I appreciate you being online to join me for this.
Well, you're welcome. I'm happy to be here. Yes, sometimes there are years, that we are unable to be physically together, but we're definitely together in spirit, and we show up for each other. And hopefully, for many years to come, we'll continue to do that.
Absolutely, I agree with you, and I was kind of also. You probably missed this as you were getting ready. I mi- I a couple of presentations back. I mentioned the 12-day war and the 12-day conflict, which was Israel and Iran going at it, and I indicated that it was that of a personal nature for me because of my relationship with you and the families that were actually going through that. I actually mentioned how the bunkers 3 and 4 times a day, how we have to deal with these alarms going off, the home front apps going off with the barrage of missiles that were coming in. So it was a very trying time for you
Yes.
and your family and other associates that had to go through this. And but it was a ride that I virtually took along with you to actually live those experiences as well.
Well, thank you for supporting. First of all, that means a lot, and I appreciate, and I'm sure everyone else does. Um, this time in June, it was very different than the other times because let's not forget that this is not the first time for people living in Israel that we have to run to shelters, and we hear alarms and missiles, and it's kind of, unfortunately, it's kind of like the regular, if I can say. But this time it was very different because it was very, very intense. We're talking about people sleeping in parking lots, mainly in Tel Aviv, because some buildings are very old and they don't have shelters in their building, and they just didn't have time to get up in the middle of the night and run to the community shelter. So it really became something national, and some people even developed PTSD, to the point where when even it happened a few times when you heard something like sounded like an alarm. It can be a car alarm. It could be, I don't know, anything else. It can be even on the phone that sounded like it. People clenched their fists right away and just, felt a certain way, like they had to run. And it really lingers on. It really lingers on. And but this is where humans, are wonderful, is that they keep pushing and they continue and they adjust even to that. They adjust to that, and we don't lose hope. That's the message. We don't lose hope.
Absolutely, absolutely, I agree. The key is to never lose hope and to continue um, to persevere.
Yes.
So, thank you for sharing that with the audience, so that we can get a firsthand understanding of what it actually feels like from an emotional standpoint, from a psychological standpoint, to go through that. So, Swan, thank you. So, if you want to tag along, I'm going to pick back up so we can keep the
Oh, yes,
the rhythm going.
absolutely. Let's hear.
I just finished July, July talking about 3i Atlas. I know I've mentioned the comet to you before. I mentioned to you maybe about an hour ago that Avi Loeb, who has been the premier um, authority to question the origin of this comet. Avi says it could be something other than a comet. So he's been that person saying, well, if it's a comet, it's not meeting the standard characteristics of a comet. So I was letting the audience know because this has been going on since July, and we're already almost in 2026. And as recent as an hour ago, updated information is coming in on 3i Atlas. So every minute,
Okay.
every hour of the hour, there's updated information on it, and that information, believe it or not, is contradicting that of a normal comet.
Wow. There's always new data, new information.
It's not behaving like a comet.
So what is it behaving like? Do we know?
We don't know, but it's behaving. It's behaving. Well, the thing about 3i Atlas is it's an interstellar object, so it did not originate in our solar system. It originated outside of our solar system, but we don't know what's outside of our solar system that could have, if it was a comet, that could have created this object to fit these unknown characteristics. In other words, comets have tails,
Right.
long tail that stretches millions of miles, millions of kilometers. Well, this comet has what they call an anti-tail. So the tail isn't coming off of it; it's actually going in front of it. So, so it has an anti-tail, and it also has what they're saying are jets. And we often associate jets with providing momentum for an object. So they're saying, well, these jets, what are these jets for? So it's doing everything that's very uncharacteristic of a comet. But Avi Loeb is not saying that it's not a comet. He's saying that it's still something that we don't understand and that we need to understand it because it's a different type of object out there, which could be extraterrestrial. It could be. We don't know. but every hour of the hour.
It's in its way. It's coming to us.
No, well, actually, it's actually leaving. It's actually headed towards Jupiter, so it's leaving our area, and headed out towards Jupiter right now. But so Avi hypothesized that it could be an alien probe. A probe, say no, let's cruise through this area. If it is extraterrestrial, let's see what's going on. Let's go on a reconnaissance mission and see what's going on.
Well, stay away from us. Stay away.
Yeah, he hypothesized that. So
Right.
so we don't know, but it's still the information, and it's still as exciting as it was in July. It is even more exciting December 31st, 2025. And we don't know what's in. So there'll be more information to come out on 3i Atlas. It's still hot off the press. The other thing about 3i Atlas is during the government shutdown, we lost information. There was a lot of data that was not disclosed. So NASA may still be interpreting a lot of information and data that was unattainable due to the government shutdown. So we'll see.
I see. Okay.
Let's get back. Okay, so that's 3i Atlas. Now, let's skip ahead to August. Something interesting happened in August, and I thought it was very interesting. I think I mentioned it to you at during that time. President Putin visited President Trump on U.S. soil for the very first time, and I thought this was interesting at that time because it was in Alaska, and which is a U.S. state. But those who don't know and those who should know is Russia and Alaska are very close.
I didn't know. I didn't know.
Yes. So it's a Russia and Alaska are only separated by the Bering Strait. So um,
You mean you mean geographically, or do they
yes.
have actually have relationships like political relationships?
No, geographically.
Geographically,
So
okay.
yeah, so you can actually. So I if I'm if and I'm being very um uh, in kilometers, it's about 144 kilometers from.
Okay, not that far away.
You can, like,
Oh,
yeah. So Alaska and Russia. So from a strategic standpoint, Putin didn't go very far.
okay.
He didn't go very far. So I thought that was very interesting. But let's take a
Yeah.
look at what that looked like. And I saw this video, and there's something I really like about it. So let's take a look at it.
Okay.
Let me see here. I'm going to make your screen a little bit smaller. Here we go. Now, I thought this is very interesting. I'm going to back this up just a little bit. Look how, look how, look how he walks up to Dr. I'm sorry, to look how Putin walks up to Donald Trump as if though they were best friends.
Yeah.
Hey, hey, haven't seen a long time, my friend. Look at that. That is the friendliest encounter. Look at it, like best friends. Look at that. I really like that exchange and that encounter. So during this walk at in Alaska, there was a flyover. There was a B-1 bomber flyover, and also President Putin actually got into the Secret Service limousine with Trump. So I thought that was very interesting that he didn't have his own vehicle. He actually got in the vehicle with Trump. And here's the flyover right here. so that's the flyover, and I believe they said that flyover was supposed to show U.S. dominance using our stealth bombers and things like that. So I thought this was a very interesting encounter.
Will you agree to a ceasefire?
Let me jump around here. So let me go back.
Mr. Putin, did you underestimate Ukraine?
Let's see here.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was very interesting with President Putin meeting Trump in Alaska with the presidential flyover in August. So to me, that meeting looked like really good friends that are the leaders of two of the biggest world powers on the planet, and it's hey, let's have this friendly exchange. I haven't seen in a long time, my good friend, and
Yeah.
it didn't look very. It looked very friendly, and I really liked
like
that.
as you say, it looked like it's all like about image, and because we know that especially these two leaders and Trump, they don't mince their words. Okay,
Right.
They will tell you what they think, and we saw that especially when Trump met the Ukrainian president.
Well, I actually
And the
showed that
exchange
earlier.
that they had was very, if I can say, salty.
Yeah, I played that clip. So that clip was a part of that.
Okay.
And you
Okay.
those who missed that can check it out in the replay. But yes, that was that totally different exchange, by the way. Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
yes.
Absolutely. So I thought that was very interesting. So that happened in August. That was something that kind of stood out among highlighted events. But then we transitioned to September, and things just went south from there.
Okay.
In September, I think all of us, especially if we have young adult children, they experienced something absolutely horrible. And I can tell you that my kids actually called me, and they could not believe what they saw. And that was the assassination of Charlie Kirk. That happened in
Yeah.
September, and it
Yeah.
touched the lives of everyone for the most part because
Oh,
we
yeah.
saw that
It was.
on national TV. You saw that in Israel. Your kids saw that, and they were disheartened to see that. He had a following of young adults. Again, I didn't really know too much about him. I had just recently heard about him, just I would say a few months before the assassination, but I've been able to do a little bit more research. But he spearheaded a movement for change, and a lot of young adults gravitated towards him because of that. And it sparked. I remember conversations that I had, and with my oldest son, and he said, "Hey, all this did was spark. It ignited a spark. It ignited a movement, of sorts."
Yes.
And I remember my youngest saying that he almost wanted to throw up by seeing what he saw. So it was devastating.
He spoke to a lot of young people, I think, because of his message, which was um, that there is a chance for all,
Yes.
that not everything is set in stone, and you can bring change. But he also spoke a lot about Christian values,
Mm,
and I think that spoke to a lot of people who share
mhm.
those values. But even people that are not Christians really were able to relate to what he had to say. I knew about him, and I would watch what he preaches, if you can say, and it I did relate to that. It did touch me in some way.
So you knew about him before the this incident.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Okay.
We all know that he was um, a friend of, of
Yes.
of of Israel, and that he um, visited many times
Okay.
in Jerusalem,
Okay.
and yes, that's mainly the reason
Okay.
how I got to know what he
Okay.
had to
Okay.
say.
Okay. 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 I'm gonna play a clip. The clip was not graphic, but I am gonna show a clip that was actually on um, the news media. It has been censored. It has been filtered, so no surprises. But I do want to show a clip of that day, just to refresh our audience.
Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years? Counting or not counting gang violence? Great.
So this is just a replay of that
Counting or
day.
not counting gang violence? Great.
And of course, the shots you hear are the exact shots. But again, it's been sanitized. But this was the chaos that we saw for the most part on social media that day. And again, it was absolutely horrific. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it off here. But this was, something that was, I would say, embedded, and it's definitely embedded in my mind.
Yes, it's
Because
tragic.
we don't, seeing that type of hostility towards someone for whatever their views are. I think the key is this: Charlie Kirk stood for dialogue. He stood for, it's okay for you to have your opinion. It's okay for me to have my opinion. That's fine. That's why we're individuals. That's why we're able to have normal conversations. You're not expected to agree with everything that I say. I'm not expected to agree with everything that you say. But respect the fact that I have my opinion, and respect the fact that you have your opinion. Let's shake hands, or not shake hands, but let's be civil. And that's what he stood for.
That's how it should be with every single relation, or a
Right.
relationship, or people that speak, in a way that can be constructive.
Absolutely, I agree. I agree. And his legacy lives on through his wife and through his
Yeah.
organization, Turning Point. So that was something that really kicked off towards the end of this year, because we're still kind of dealing with that right now. But something else happened in October. It was kind of like a healing from that, because I think the whole world needed to heal from that situation. And one of the big things that happened during that time was the release of the hostages and the Hamas Israel ceasefire that was brokered by members of the Trump administration,
Oh,
and that ceasefire is still holding right now. It's my understanding, it was a several phased type of initiative, and this is phase one. So I believe we're still in phase one, and we're transitioning to phase two. I hear that towards the beginning of this year. But let me play a clip. I'll bring you back for a little bit of dialogue. Okay.
okay.
Position inside the strip. Unrestricted humanitarian aid should now be allowed in, while Hamas has 72 hours to release all the remaining hostages. Before the ceasefire came into effect, Palestinians reported heavy airstrikes in parts of Gaza during the night.
Okay. So that's just a clip there that I wanted to show. Not too much involved in it, but maybe if you want to give a little bit of dialogue on the ceasefire and what you've seen actually in Israel since that ceasefire, if anything that you may want to enlighten us with.
I'm afraid I am not going to be able to elaborate more because, first of all, when that ceasefire happened, I was not in Israel. I was visiting, and I kind of watched everything happening from
Oh, that's right.
from the outside, and I do feel that I missed out a little bit because when you're really inside the situation, you really feel it in a different way.
Right.
I know that people were taking it to the streets, and they were in the hostage square in Tel Aviv, and there was screens everywhere to show the event, and when the hostages were being released as well,
Right.
and there were screams of joy, and I know that because it's physical. You feel it. You feel it
Right.
in the air, and cars are honking, and you know that what it's for.
Right.
So when I came back, everything was done already. Everything was
Okay.
it was like the aftermath.
Right.
And I want to stress that after the 12-day war, because it was so intense, I kind of like I mean, I'm following what's happening, but I'm following from a distance
Okay.
at the moment, and that's my personal way of coping, I have to
Yeah.
say. So I do know, I'm aware of what's happening, and I just hope that it stays this way.
Very well said. Very, very well said. So that was the ceasefire. We're running. I think we're actually right on schedule. And what we're gonna do is I'm gonna finish out. I'm gonna finish out this segment because I've got two more segments to give, and then I'll do just a very brief recap on another little small subject. By that time, it'll be 5 minutes prior till. We'll take that 5 minutes, uh, refresh your glass, get you something to drink, get you something to toast, and we'll come back. So we're right on schedule right now with
Perfect.
approaching midnight. So with that being said, let's transition. The ceasefire happened, and we're getting on with closing out this year. And then something else happens in November. And that incident, well, I'm not going to call it an incident, but the situation carried over into November. And that was the government shutdown. Oh my goodness.
Oh
The
wow.
government shutdown, which was the longest government shutdown in U.S. history. I forget what the time, 2 months, a month and a half, something like that. Um, 40 days, 40 some days, something like that, which was the longest government shutdown in U.S. history, and so much happened during that time. Um, Specifically, most notably, was air traffic security. Um, we had issues with our aircraft. Many flights were being canceled because security personnel, baggage screeners were not available to where we're calling in sick and things like that. There were shortages of federal workers to man these air terminals. There was issues with if you were not an essential government employee, meaning that you were, if you were considered an essential employee, you were still required to work without pay. So if you were a air travel agent, TSA agent, Homeland Security, law enforcement, you were working without pay. If you were non-essential, you were furloughed at home, and that was it. So it caused a big problem, and it almost affected the holiday season, the kickoff of the holiday season, which was Thanksgiving. Things got back up and going, I think, before about a week before Thanksgiving, but it caused a big problem. Let's take a look at a clip.
3/5 of the Senate duly chosen and sworn, having voted in the affirmative. The motion
I'm going to back it up.
Reconsideration.
I'm going to back this up. Let me see something here.
Consideration is agreed to.
I don't think this. Give me 1 second here. Let's back it up here. Here we go.
A possible end to the government shutdown.
Let's get the job done, and let's do it fast.
Overnight, the Senate advancing a bill to extend funding for the government through the end of January.
On this vote, the yeas are 60 and the nays are 40. 3/5 of the Senate duly chosen and sworn, having voted in the
this was the vote to open the government back
upon
up.
reconsideration is agreed to.
The
8
reason
senators breaking with their party to vote for the compromise, which does not include Democrats' key demand to extend Obamacare subsidies and prevent premiums from skyrocketing.
Let me pause it there. The government, so basically there was this war of sorts between the Republicans and Democrats, and the Republicans wanted to not fund these medical subsidies that provide funding for immigrants and people of such. So there was this big pushback, and there was a government shutdown because they couldn't agree on a budget. If they can't agree on a budget, the government shuts down. So what happened was certain groups defected and joined the other side to get the votes needed to open the government back up temporarily.
Yes.
So they're talking about maybe a potential shutdown happening at the end of January
Again.
if things, if they can't come to terms with the budget. But again, it's all about the Trump administration not wanting to provide funding for immigrants and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes.
So it's a big story, but that's what that was all about, and that's what triggered all of that. Now,
So
last
how did it affect people in a more practical way? What happened to all of these families? And
what happens with all these families is it's devastating. The subsidies that these families receive not only are medical, but they are food benefits as well. We call them SNAP, food stamps, getting money from the government to go buy food.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, and I'm not going to talk too much into it, but there are videos online, whether they're pranks, whether they're done for fun, I don't know. But there are videos online. There was this latest one about a Somali guy who is saying, yes, we take all the money, we want all the benefits, we want all this, and we're gonna do what we want to with this free money. So we're saying, yes, we come here for the free money. So again, I don't know if this is true or not, but the Trump administration's major focus is not to give benefits to those who are not entitled to benefits. Now, this last action, what happened was this last government shutdown was the SNAP program was cut off and families did not receive their benefits. So if they had, let's say, if they had $1,000 on their card that they get every month from the government, overnight those funds were zero.
Oh my God, that's
So
devastating. Yes.
it's absolutely devastating. So that did
Yes.
happen. And but luckily things were able to get back up and going, but for how long we don't know. So yeah, it does. There's there is there's a lot involved with these sort of things, and yeah, so we'll see what happens in 2026 or what happens at the end of this month. But let me close this out and talk about something that's happening that's very relevant now, and that is the issue that we're having with Venezuela. The
I heard.
U.S.
Yes.
is constantly in a conflict now with our Caribbean countries, most notably Venezuela. Within the past couple of weeks, we've seized oil vessels. We've seized we not only that we've seized oil
Mhm.
tankers, and we've also um, targeted speedboats in the Caribbean that we thought were carrying drugs. We've terminated those targets. Many targets, so many people have lost their lives. Most recently, we targeted an onshore facility, which is our first time attacking a facility on the mainland. That happened a couple of days ago. So tensions are heating up between us and Venezuela. But here's the thing about it: Venezuela's main supporters are Russia and China, and they're feeling a real way about what we're doing. So we don't know what this is going to escalate to in 2026. I'm going to show this very brief clip because we're running short on time, but I do want to show it.
Escalation in President Trump's pressure campaign on Venezuela now coming to light. The U.S. has been hitting alleged drug trafficking boats at sea for months, the most recent strike killing 2 people just yesterday, according to the Pentagon. But now, President Trump revealing an attack on Venezuelan soil,
on the
saying
soil.
his administration took out what he calls a big facility.
There was a major explosion in the dock area where they load the boats
This
up
is what
with
this
drugs.
meeting with DB
NBC News has not been able to verify where or when
this
the attack
actually happened on
The president
soil,
has
and I'm going
previously
to cut
said
it
that he's
there. But this is hot off the press. Tensions are growing minute by minute, and we don't know what's going to happen at the beginning of 2026. And that's where I want to close things out. I just covered 2025 with everything.
Fantastic.
And we have 2026 to look forward to. Hopefully things will not be as bad. Before I take a break, I do want to make note of some individuals that did not make it in 2025, just to give them a quick shout out. So during 2025, most notably, we had a lot of our well-known figures. Some passed unexpectedly. I did mention Pope Francis passed unexpectedly. Malcolm Jamal Warner, which is in the top right there. On the top left is Jane Goodall, who had been working with primates for many, many years. Lonnie Anderson, Robert Redford, and of course, recently, as of a couple of weeks ago, Rob Reiner, there at the very bottom there, and Hulk Hogan. There are many other that Charlie Kirk is also included here, but there are many others that I could not cover. But Ozzy Osbourne, of course, was one, and some other names that have passed away in 2025. And so this has been a very shaking year, just with many people that we didn't expect to pass. We expected them to be around, and life has it. Life is all about life and death. So I wanted to just cover that and highlight that so that we could see that. So I just wanted to point that out. We have about 7 minutes before our toast, and Swan, I don't want to put you on the spot, but in about 3 minutes, we're going to take a break, freshen up our cups. And was there anything any information you wanted to put out? I know we had a conversation prior to joining, but I don't know if you want to say a little something before we take a quick break.
Well, I thought about it in
Okay.
2026 in numerology is 10, is the number 10, and number 10 is the 10 commandments.
Oh, okay.
And I don't want to bring it as something heavy. This year should be a year where I think that we need to bring back what is most important, and it's our values, and it's our family, and it's to protect all that. And in a way, the 10 Commandments, they come to remind us of a way of living. And this is what it is for my point of view. 2026, it's about regaining our values and just putting our priorities in the right places.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Making 2026 a year of priorities.
Yes, I think
Sounds
so.
good. And is that one of your resolutions, or do you have a couple more?
Wow, my resolution. Yeah, that's definitely one of them.
Okay.
And it's also, everyone has their projects, whether they are creative or with work or with in their personal lives. And I'm in the middle at the moment. I don't want to say too much. I'm in the middle of finishing a poetry book.
Okay.
And that would definitely be my resolution would be definitely to have this project be finalized and be fruitful and bring it to the world. And that's really the big one this year for me.
So if there's any publishers out there that are interested in Swanee's work, how can they get in contact with you? Any publishers out there that may be interested in your work, how can they get at you?
Okay. There's always my IG, my Instagram, where I post some spoken poetry and some creative work, just visual creation. And some of my poems. There's always X, of course, where I post my writings, a little bit on TikTok, a little bit on YouTube. So there are ways to get in contact with me on social media, and it's Back to Swan. Back to Swan.
Just type in Back to Swan.
Back to Swan
in all social media platforms. Back.
Yes.
BACKTOSWAN.
Yes.
There you go.
But it's still the beginning. It's still the beginning. So, well, I'm hopeful.
2026 is definitely going to be your year. So with that being said, I'm going to take a 5-minute break. I'm going to go to the restroom. Fill up my cup here. We have about 4 minutes. I'm going to put the timer on. Actually, I'm going to put the timer on, and we'll be back. We'll take a break here in a second. Okay. Let's take a little intermission, and then we'll go with it from there.
All right. See you soon.
Okay.
Ready to explore right up in the sky. I need you to listen, I need you to hear, and don't show any fear. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to blow it up like a volcano. Another day to lose control. There's a fire in my bones. My sight gets blurry, pushing back the tears. Should take a leap of faith and face my fear. I blame it on the voices that are in my head, wondering if they'll ever be put to bed. Feels like I am close to reaching my wit's end. Holding out, but I'm about to blow it up like a volcano. Like a volcano. Blow it up like a volcano. What you do, what you do, what you do to me? Can't you see what it means when you set me free? What you do, what you do, what you do to me? Can't you see what it means when you set me free?
Over the edge, feel like I'm floating through the air. The pain I felt is paid for, all is said and done. Oh, I am restricted, fixed upon the web. I need to kick the habit that my mind is breathing in. Break out, I've got to see. Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it in
Just one, two, just one, two, three.
discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless.
Just one, two, just one, two, three. Just one, two.
Burning the bridge that keeps us.
Just one, two, just one, two, three.
Exaggerated, that's what you assume.
Hey, Swanee, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, what you got? What you sipping on over there?
Well, I think that you know by now that I do not drink alcohol.
Happy New Year,
And
Swan.
I do not have alcohol in my house at all. So
It is officially midnight. It is officially
coffee.
Okay, cheers. It is officially
Cheers.
2026 in California. Swanee, I want to say, let me switch this over. I want to say, I would not want to be any other place unless I'm physically with you. Any other place, but right here on this line, on this virtual, bringing in a new year with you. Even though we couldn't be physically together, I would not want to be any other place, but right here with you right now, bringing in 2026. Salute.
Oh, thank you.
And I look forward to correcting mistakes and getting it right. And what was that term you used? What was the one you just used a few minutes ago? Priorities. Getting priorities. Exactly. So it is officially 2026, and I wouldn't want to bring it in any other way.
Yes.
And
that's it.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Oh, huh?
We didn't do the countdown.
It's also the countdown was automatic. We had an automatic countdown. But let me I do have a little something here. Let me see here.
Yay! 2026. It's exciting. It's exciting.
Absolutely. So,
Yay!
all right. So I had that right all
Very
queued up and
nice.
ready to go.
Very nice.
And
Thank you for hosting me. Thank you for hosting me. You mentioned that maybe I had a little spoken word before.
you want to get into it?
I may have something. It's something that do we have time? Are we completely over time?
We ain't got nothing but we don't have anything but time. We just overtime. I think we've been going for an hour and a half. Yeah.
Yeah.
We got nothing but time.
It's something that I wrote during COVID.
Okay.
So that was about, I would say 5-6 years ago. And I was really in a state of like the unknown because we were just coming out of quarantine and we didn't know how it was going to change because I don't think that we even knew what hit us because it came all of a sudden, right? COVID was like a big shock to everyone and we had to be confined in our homes. And there was just a moment where they told us, okay, you can go now, you can go back, into your regular life. So I wrote this little piece, very short, but it really much portrays the way I saw things from now on and how I see things today, in a way, for this new year.
Okay, and this is from 20.
It's like 2020, maybe. It's from 2020.
Okay.
2019, yeah.
Let's hear it.
Soon to be 2020. This new forest, sanctuary of the prudent, softens the last tears like the whisper of wisdom. This new earth, universal refuge of all living things, replenishes and bears the genesis. Nature grows and moves in silence, where humans create crashing potential. Keep still. Together, we will contemplate the death of our being. The death. I can't say it. Sorry, I'm French. The death. The death. I can't do the TH. It's terrible.
That's beautiful. I love it. That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Wow. And it's for the record. It's on the internet live. You're hearing it live and direct from Swanee T. Oh, it's beautiful.
But it's a message of new beginnings, a message of new hope, a rebirth, and embracing our beautiful earth that we have and respecting it.
So then the beginning of the year is the perfect time to put that poem into action.
Absolutely. I agree.
Very well done. I love it. I love it. So, well, I'm actually exhaling right now. It's an exhale because 2025 has just been such a long, trying year, and just going back to what you're saying, prioritizing things, putting things in proper perspective, keeping a positive, strong mindset, and pushing forward. Yeah, I'm exhaling right now. It's like steam coming out of my ears because 2025 was just, it was a lot, and to bring that year to a close, it's now it's time to focus on new things, beautiful things, positive things, fruitful, productive things. And a lot of people didn't make it. I'm glad that our families are healthy. We all made it in.
Absolutely.
2026, boy. 2026.
Here we go. Another year. Another year.
Oh boy. That's one. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up.
Wonderful.
we're about an hour and 40 minutes into it, almost an hour and 40 minutes into it. So it's been a good night. It's been a very good night. And
Wonderful.
again,
That's
thank you
wonderful.
so much
Thank you.
for taking
Thank you.
time.
Interesting. Always enjoying your shows and your discussions, and you should continue and share with us your very interesting thoughts.
Yeah, more shows coming. So yeah, definitely look forward to more shows. If you support the machine, those of you out there who may check this out, if you support the machine, hey, buy us a coffee. Show us your support. That's all. Just buy us a coffee,
Sure.
and because Swanee's a coffee drinker, and we appreciate that. So, with that being said, we're gonna close out the show. Happy 2026 to
Year.
everyone. Happy
Yeah.
2026 to you and family. Happy 2026 to the world. And let's get to it. And with that being said, we're gonna call it a wrap. Thank you so much, Swanee.
Have a
And
great.
salute.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.